that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation of 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo is submitted to the record.
Democrats say it's contrived, it's manufactured, it's fake, it's not real. Then when the real crisis gets actually worse, the Democrats blame the administration for the very crisis they helped create by the things they said and the fact it won't change the law. But somehow, it's your problem. Somehow, it's the president's problem. And we have Ms. Costello, who went down there, her team went down there and looked this all over as the Inspector General. Said there's some concerns that she has, and the cause of the concerns they're trying to ascertain. Now, she also said agents are doing, I think your statement was agents are doing their level best. Is that right, Ms. Costello?
That's the
In this powerful segment, Allison delivers a sharp response, exposing the truth behind the family separation controversy and revealing how Democrats may be distorting facts to deflect from their own policy failures. Former ICE Director Thomas Homan dismantles the left's narrative, pointing to weak immigration laws, open border policies, and political maneuvering as the real drivers of the crisis. Watch as Allison breaks it all down and highlights the facts the mainstream media won't tell you.
or violated human rights agreements set by the United Nations in a family separation policy.
Yes. International law is clear that family unity should be prioritized.
So we, as members of the United Nations, signed on into an international human rights agreement saying very clearly that family separation is a violation of international human rights, and we pursued a policy that violates human rights. Mr. Chair, I was looking, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where we take children out of mothers' and fathers' arms? And, it dated back, family separation, the way that we have seen it, where we take children away from their parents without due process, began last year under Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but I had to dig further. And our staff dug further. Where did this start within the administration? She implemented it. And we found a memo. Dates back to April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice, including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the congressional record.
What's the date of that?
It is the memorandum for the Secretary from Homeland Security.
Date.
April 23rd, 2018, subject increasing prosecutions of immigration violations.
Without objection.
And so I looked at this memo, and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin Mikulinin, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see it.
Yeah, give it
I'd be happy to provide it. And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as it is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from the
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo is submitted to the record for review. Inspector General Costello, one last thing. Is there a record, based on reports throughout the year, and in our hearing earlier this year, we spoke with Ms. Juarez, a mother who lost her child due to inhumane conditions in facilities. We learned that there is no accurate record and no policy being held of people who are pregnant and people who endure miscarriages. Is there a record of who enters and leaves these facilities?
I'm not familiar with the instance you're talking about, but I do believe the facilities keep custody logs and logs, but I'm not familiar with the incident you're talking
And where
about.
would we find those records?
I believe all the facilities keep them on site, CBP and ICE facilities.
And if you believe that the records are not accessible, or if we find that the records are not accessible, do you believe the committee should seek to request records from DHS on the location of children and those that are detained?
Well, we would never opine about what the committee would request and not request, so.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Holman, the actions you took when you were director of ICE were entirely consistent with the law of the land, weren't they?
Yes, if someone's prosecuted for a crime, the child can't go to jail with a parent.
Yeah.
That happens to American families every day.
Yeah, and if we, as you said, I think earlier, if we don't like the law, last time I checked, it's folks sitting up here got to change it.
Yeah.
And you've offered, I think, no more than 4 times, 3 changes to the law that would help the situation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe make it a 5th time. Can you say it a 5th time for this group? Just, because, again, we're the ones that have to change the law. So give us that recommendation a 5th time, the 3 things that we got to do.
If we would close the loopholes in the TVPRA, where children in Central America are treated the same as children in Mexico, if we would change the Florida settlement agreement so we can actually detain families in family setting long enough to see a judge and plead their case, if we can change the rules of asylum so it makes more sense so 90% of people don't pass the first interview, a lot fewer will pass in front of a judge. Those 3 things would make a big difference on the border and decrease the illegal entry.
Because those 3 things go to the heart of the matter. They go to the incentive. Is that right?
They go to incentive along with the other things, such as talking about abolishing ICE, having no detention, free education,
Yeah.
free medical care, citizenship for those who are here illegally. When you keep offering incentives for people to come to our cities, come to this country, you'll be protected from ICE. As long as you keep having this language,
Those kind of
more people
statements,
who are
those kind of-
vulnerable people will keep trying to come.
Those kind of statements made by Democrats in the United States Congress or positions of influence in this country, they have an impact, don't they?
Have a significant impact.
When a member of Congress has abolished ICE, when another member of Congress has abolished DHS, when the Speaker of the House says walls are immoral, when the person who gave the State of the Union response to the President's State of the Union says she's okay with non-citizens voting, that all has an impact, doesn't it? Just like the law that you're sworn to uphold and impact and do when you're the director of ICE.
Has a significant impact, and if this would have been fixed years ago, we probably wouldn't have seen zero tolerance. We wouldn't see the conditions on the border
But
today.
because the laws haven't been changed, because of the statements that have been made, there was a crisis. There is a crisis on the border. That just didn't happen yesterday. Right? You think about this. There was a crisis. The administration asked for help. Democrats say it's contrived, it's manufactured, it's fake, it's not real. Then when the real crisis gets actually worse, the The Democrats blame the administration for the very crisis they helped create by the things they said and the fact it won't change the law. But somehow, it's your problem. Somehow, it's the president's problem. And we have Ms. Costello, who went down there, her team went down there and looked this all over as the Inspector General. Said there's some concerns that she has, and the cause of the concerns they're trying to ascertain. Now, she also said agents are doing, I think your statement was agents are doing their level best. Is that right, Ms. Costello?
That's the experience of our inspectors.
So that the Inspector General goes down there with your team and you conclude the agents, the people that Mr. Homan used to represent, are doing their darn best they could do, but they're overwhelmed. And then you also said in your statement, in your answers a few minutes ago, you're trying to ascertain the cause. Well, that's pretty simple to figure out the cause. It's the numbers. In October, 60,000 apprehensions and inadmissibles on the border. October of last year. You know what it was in May of this year? 144,000. We know the cause. They're all coming. And they're coming because things the other side's saying, and the fact we won't change three fundamental things in the law. And it also might help, Mr. Homan. It also might help, because these are the ones that, these are apprehensions, people presenting themselves at ports of entry. It also might help we build a border security wall, right? Instead of having the Speaker of the House say they're immoral, even though there's one in her state, it might actually help if we built a border security wall that the American people voted this president in office to do. It might actually help we did that. Would you agree, Mr. Homan?
Absolutely. Every place they build a border barrier, every single place they build a border barrier, illegal immigration decreased.
Yeah, it would help with some of the tragic things that we have heard about, tragic situations that we've heard about the last couple of days, this entire week in this committee, that no one wants to see happen. The young mother who lost her daughter. It's tragic. No one wants those, but if we did the things you're talking about, we could help avoid some of those kind of incidents from happening in the future. Is that right, Mr. Homan?
Yeah, if I can respond
and
to
you're
that.
the guy who's lived it, breathed it, felt it, managed it. You know more than, you have more expertise in this area than anyone in this room. Is that right?
I believe so, but let me
so.
respond to the one child that died. It's tragic. Tragic.
It sure is.
Well, you know, also we're showing a lot of pictures. If I can have just 30 seconds. Here's a picture. Her name is Serenity. She was 9 months old. 9 months. Raped and murdered by an illegal alien because of open borders policy. Here's Irana. She was 5 years old. Raped repeatedly and murdered by an illegal alien. Here's Louise Soloway. She was 93. Multiple rapes and murdered by an illegal alien. Here's a 16-year-old. Here's a law enforcement officer. I got hundreds of these in my desk drawer. So I've seen tears from people today, and I understand that. It's tragic when anybody dies. But let's not forget the angel moms and dads who I've all met and got to know. Their children are dying. They're separated forever. It's not a matter of location. They're dead. And a secure border would help prevent some of this. Sanctuary cities does not help this. Sanctuary cities this will increase because of the push of sanctuary cities. Come to our country, we'll protect you. You can even commit a crime here in our county jail. We're not licensed to the jail. So he'll go out with recidivism rates. Anybody can look them up. 50% reoffend the first year, up to 75 recidivate within 5 years. They're in the country illegally in violation of federal law. They're locked up in a county jail. Let us have access to them and do our job.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Allison Reacts, Patriots. If you love this country, believe in law and order, and are tired of watching the truth get buried under political spin, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it so more Americans can hear what's really happening at our southern border. I just watched a hearing where Democrats grilled former ICE Director Thomas Homan over the so-called family separation policy. They tried to paint him as a villain, a monster, simply for doing his job and enforcing immigration law. But here's what they won't admit: crossing the US border illegally is a crime. That's not an opinion, it's US Code, Title 8, Section 1325. If you're seeking asylum, you're supposed to go through a legal port of entry. It's that simple. But the left doesn't want you to hear that, because it doesn't serve their narrative. Let's be clear, Thomas Homan didn't invent the family separation policy. He enforced the law Congress wrote, the same laws that apply to every American. When a US citizen is arrested and has a child with them, the child doesn't go to jail. The parent is separated. That's the reality. So why is it suddenly different when the person entering the country does so illegally? Because it's political. What struck me most in this hearing was how lawmakers like AOC twisted international law, claiming the US violated human rights. But what about the rights of American citizens, those murdered, raped, or assaulted by people who had no legal right to be here in the first place? Homan showed heartbreaking photos of those victims, children, seniors, police officers. Their families are permanently separated. Not for weeks. Not for months. Forever. Yet we don't see the same outrage from the left about them, do we? Homan laid out real solutions, simple, effective fixes Congress could implement today. Close the loopholes in the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Reform the Flores Agreement so families can be detained together until their cases are resolved. Fix the asylum process to prevent fraud from overwhelming our system. 3 common-sense changes. But instead of doing their jobs, Democrats play to the cameras, crying about morality while blocking any real progress. And when border apprehensions surged from 60,000 to 144,000, they called it a fake crisis. Said it was manufactured. And now, with the crisis worse than ever, they blame the very people who've been begging them to take action for years. The hypocrisy is staggering. Every time Republicans talk about border security, the left screams racism. But when those immoral border walls go up and illegal crossings drop, they suddenly go silent. Wherever a barrier is built, illegal crossings go down. That's not partisanship, that's reality. And the most painful part of all this? The tragedies we're seeing, the innocent lives lost, could have been prevented. Sanctuary cities protect criminals, not citizens. ICE is handcuffed because liberal politicians are more concerned with social media applause than public safety. And every time they block enforcement, real people suffer. This isn't about cruelty versus compassion. Those who follow the rules, contribute, and love this country. But we cannot keep rewarding lawbreakers about common sense. We can have a compassionate immigration system that welcomes ours and acts shocked when chaos follows. So to every politician out there pretending to care, spare us your fake outrage. Fix the laws you wrote. Stop playing political games with American lives.